Nigel Farage very well is Raheem Kassam. He's in Washington. He's a close associate of Mr Farage. A few weeks ago, he was a contender for the UKIP leadership. Raheem, thanks for joining us. And I'm just wondering, did you think the president-elect was being serious when he kind of raised this idea?
Yes, I do think he was being serious. I think he values Nigel, has valued Nigel's loyalty over the course of the campaign here in the United States. Of course, Nigel was with him in Jackson in Mississippi. And I think he would like to see a strong UK-US relationship. I think the Anglosphere is where President-elect Trump sees the future of the world. And I think it's very unfortunate that the British government doesn't see that.
What do you think Mr Farage's qualifications for the job would be?
Well, look, you've got a current ambassador there who basically built his career on being an EU advisor. We are in a post-EU Britain now. We are in a Brexit Britain. So I think it's a case of looking at how the current ambassador no longer serves a purpose and how Nigel Farage has a brilliant working relationship with the president-elect. I mean, Theresa May really has to think about whether she's working in the national interest or working in her own interest. And at the moment, it seems like she's working in her own interest and in the interest of the Conservative Party. That's not what the Prime Minister should be doing. These two men have a greater relationship than Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan did when they first met. Let's make use of it.
Do you think diplomacy is Nigel Farage's strength?
Well, some people may not think so, but I know him very well. I know him personally as well as professionally, and I would have to say that he actually is a very, very diplomatic person. Perhaps that's not how a lot of people like to present him or like to think of him as, but I have to say he, in the face of a lot of adversity, in the face of a lot of attacks on him in the past few years, he has been perhaps one of the most restrained people that I've ever seen in my life. So I think he would do a fantastic job. Here's the thing. Britain could have the best ambassador, the best relationship with the White House, an open door to the President of the United States. Or we could have a former EU advisor who holds up in the embassy, who you know, his heart is in Brussels.
Well, look,
that's the choice.
Let's not use the interview to attack the ambassador who's not here to defend himself. Let's, if I may, Raheem, let's concentrate on Mr Farage, who you do know very well. You know, we've heard lots about the fact that he wanted to go into retirement. Are you saying that if this were the kind of opening available, any thought of retirement would be soon forgotten?
Yeah, I think it would be, and let me just clarify. I'm not trying to attack the ambassador. All I'm trying to say is that I feel there is a better option. So it's not an attack on him. So apologies if that came across incorrectly. But I do think that Nigel would look very seriously at this role. I think, you know, it wasn't so much that he wanted to retire. It was that he wanted some slice of his life back, some slice of normality back. He wanted to be able to go fishing, to spend time with his children. Of course, he would love to do that. But if your country asks you to serve it as the ambassador to the most important relationship they have in the world, then of course you do that.
I'm bound to say, Raheem, there'll be people watching wondering, you know, what the sovereignty argument here is, because, you know, you spent your time in the Brexit campaign, forcefully campaigning on this issue. What business is it of the president-elect who is appointed British ambassador to Washington? It's nothing to do with him, surely.
Well, actually, people are quick to forget that the diplomatic appointments into countries have to be accepted. The credentials have to be accepted by the government. And so if Britain sends an ambassador to the United States, he has to be accepted as the ambassador. We've done the same thing. We've rejected ambassadors as the United Kingdom from different countries in the past. So they do have a role to play in this. And as we know, it's perhaps not tweeting about it that is the norm. But Donald Trump hasn't done things the normal way. And so I think we just need to get used to this world now.
Yeah, it's not rejecting the nomination, is it? It's actually suggesting a name in the first place, and that is a completely different thing.
Yeah, and as I say, you know, it's not the norm, but I think we should get used to the fact that this man just wants to get down to business, and he's not gonna play around and stand on ceremony. He wants to get down to work, and frankly, if we want to go to the front of the queue for a trade deal with the United States, there is one man who can make sure that that is done, and that's Nigel Farage.
Just a final thought, Raheem, on the kind of way that the presidency will get underway, because Mr Trump obviously has made his point about trade. I noticed today that his spokeswoman was saying that there'd be no more talk about pursuing Hillary Clinton over the
Yes.
email thing, and no mention last night in that video message he gave out of building a wall on the Mexican border. Do you and others of like mind, are you concerned that he's going to abandon some of the more eye-catching promises he made during the election campaign?
No, I don't think so. I think people are pretty sure that border wall is going to be built. Whether it takes the role of a big concrete building or whether it takes the role of a barbed wire fence or whatever it is, I think people are pretty confident that it is going to be built. Let's be very clear about this. For those that don't know, there are already masses of that border that are already fenced and walled off. So it's not the gargantuan task that a lot of people make it out to be. And trade, he's already said TPP is out the door on day one, and I think that is a promise that he's going to keep and keep for the American worker. And it's a very good promise, by the way. People need to pay attention to this. For the left, the political left, don't like these big corporate trade deals like TPP, like TTIP. And so he actually may have been the person who comes along and brings the right and the left together on issues like this. So I don't think anybody's concerned about him not delivering. I think it's the transition team looks to be completely on course, and I think we just need to wait and see now what happens on day 1 to day 100.
And in your view, he's right not to pursue Hillary Clinton?
Look, I don't think he should spend his time when he wants to fix the country dealing with an old political adversary. I think that is over. The public knows what happened there. Everybody knows what happened, and she was apologetic about it. I think if you're gonna mend the wounds that have been opened by this campaign here, you don't do it by further attacking somebody who you've already defeated. So I think it's probably the right thing to do.
Okay, Raheem Kassam, thanks for joining us from Washington.
Thank you.